In the winter of 1809, inside a small wooden log cabin in Hodgenville, a baby boy was born. No one could have imagined that this child, born into poverty on the American frontier, would one day become one of the most influential leaders in world history. His name was Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was born into a poor farming family. His father, Thomas Lincoln, worked hard to support the family, while his mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, was known for her kindness and strong moral values. Their home was simple and life was difficult, but the family believed in hard work and perseverance. Lincoln grew up in the rough and wild environment of the American frontier, surrounded by forests, farms, and dirt roads. The barefoot boy who once ran through those woods had no idea that one day his name would be remembered across the world. From a very young age, Lincoln developed a deep love for learning. He was fascinated by books, but books were rare in frontier communities. Determined to learn, he often walked miles just to borrow one. At night, when darkness covered the countryside, young Lincoln would sit beside the fireplace, using the faint glow of the fire as his only light while he read for hours. Inside that small cabin, a brilliant mind was quietly growing. Lincoln had very little formal education, but his desire to learn was limitless. He taught himself by reading every book he could find, slowly building his knowledge page by page. Sometimes he walked long distances through snow and cold winds just to borrow a book. The journey was difficult, but nothing could stop his determination to learn. Paper was expensive, so Lincoln often practiced writing on wooden boards using pieces of charcoal. Even in poverty, he refused to give up on education. Every challenge became an opportunity to grow. At night, Lincoln would look up at the stars and imagine a different future. Though he was the son of a poor farmer, he dreamed of achieving something greater. These early struggles were shaping a remarkable leader. The boy from a humble log cabin would one day become the President of the United States, and his story would inspire generations around the world.
As Abraham Lincoln grew older, life did not become easier. It became even more demanding. He spent long days chopping wood in the forests and working tirelessly on farms, helping his family survive in the harsh frontier environment. Despite the physical labor, his mind was always searching for knowledge and something greater. As a young man, he took on various jobs, including working on riverboats, where he traveled along the Mississippi River and witnessed the realities of a divided nation. These experiences shaped his understanding of people, hardship, and injustice. At one point, Lincoln tried to run a small business, but it failed, leaving him in debt. For many, this would have been the end of ambition, but not for Lincoln. Instead of giving up, he turned to education once again. With determination, he began studying law on his own, reading books late into the night by candlelight. Step by step, he taught himself the principles of justice and fairness. Carrying law books under his arm, he walked miles across towns and villages, building his future through persistence. His dedication eventually paid off, and he became a lawyer. Known for his honesty and integrity, Lincoln earned the trust of the people. Whether sitting alone and thinking deeply or writing legal notes late at night, he was slowly transforming into a man of strong character. These years of struggle, failure, and self-discipline were not setbacks. They were the foundation of a leader who would one day rise to change history.
As Abraham Lincoln continued his journey, his career as a lawyer began to flourish in Springfield. Inside modest courtrooms and simple offices, he built a reputation not just for his legal skills, but for his honesty and fairness. Clients trusted him, and even his opponents respected him. Lincoln often traveled long distances on horseback, moving from town to town to attend court sessions, carrying his books and ideas with him. But his ambitions reached beyond the courtroom. Deep inside, he felt a growing desire to serve the people on a larger scale. This desire led him into the world of politics. He began delivering speeches to small groups in town squares, speaking about justice, equality, and opportunity. His words were simple yet powerful, connecting deeply with ordinary people. As his confidence grew, so did his influence. He took part in public debates, where his calm logic and clear vision made him stand out among other leaders. Gradually, his name started spreading across the region. By the time the 1860 election approached, Lincoln had become a strong voice for change, representing the Republican Party. His campaign focused on unity, fairness, and a better future for the nation. Against powerful opponents, he stood firm with his principles. And when the results were finally announced, Abraham Lincoln emerged victorious, elected as the 16th President of the United States. It was a moment that marked not just a personal victory, but the beginning of a new chapter in American history.
As Abraham Lincoln stepped into the White House as president, he carried the weight of a nation on the brink of collapse. The country was deeply divided, and soon conflict erupted into the devastating American Civil War. It was a time of fear, loss, and uncertainty, as brother fought against brother on the battlefield. Through these dark days, Lincoln remained calm, thoughtful, and determined to preserve the Union at all costs. Night after night, he studied maps, met with generals, and made decisions that would shape the future of the nation. But for Lincoln, this war was not just about unity, it was about justice. In 1863, he took one of the boldest steps in American history by issuing the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that enslaved people in Confederate states would be free. This decision changed the meaning of the war forever and gave hope to millions. Later that same year, standing on the blood-soaked fields of Gettysburg, Lincoln delivered one of the most powerful speeches in history, the Gettysburg Address. In just a few words, he reminded the nation of its founding ideals and the true meaning of freedom and democracy. As the war finally came to an end in 1865, the Union was preserved and the chains of slavery were broken. Lincoln had led his country through its greatest crisis, becoming a symbol of hope, courage, and humanity. But just as peace was returning, tragedy struck. On April 14, 1865, while attending a play at Ford's Theater, Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. The nation was left in shock, mourning the loss of the leader who had guided them through their darkest hour. Though his life was cut short, Lincoln's legacy could not be silenced. From a humble log cabin to the highest office in the land, his journey became a timeless story of perseverance, integrity, and vision. Today, Abraham Lincoln is remembered not just as a president, but as a man who changed the course of history, proving that even in the face of great hardship, one person can make a difference that echoes through generations.